out of there.
Okay, guys,
Anthony
let me say this. For some reason, sorry. For some reason, we were not live. I don't know why.
Wait, what?
We're not live now.
Yeah, it looked like we were scheduled. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. My God, we've been talking for a minute, guys. So sorry again.
Yeah, we were going for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry.
Jeez Louise.
Anyway, I did my quick Ravens update for the preseason. There was not much to talk. So Q, I'm gonna throw it to you.
Well, actually, they didn't hear it, Sonny. So I think we gotta give them it. I'll toss it to you and kind of walk it through. All right, so Sonny, the Ravens had their preseason opener. We're kind of just go around the table, break down everybody's preseason opener, some good, some bad here. We're just going to start out overall initial thoughts of what you saw from the pertinent parts of this preseason game. Understanding like that second half, just of the preseason game is just. I've been having to break down a lot of law cases. I'm sorry. I'm deep in my legalese bag here. Here for to end. Tell me what you thought of the opener for the preseason for the Ravens. Were there any surprises of guys who played, and kind of what competitions are going on that people who aren't necessarily following the Ravens day to day need to be following?
So the Ravens have a competition for the guard position, both left and right. Fahalele's there. He was the right guard for last year. You all know my fandom of him. I thought he played terrible. The left guard, Voorhees, I think he should be a lock. I think at this point should be Fahalele and Ben Cleveland. Ben Cleveland played maybe a little better, touch better, but it wasn't like so. So definitely, I'm concerned for the right guard position. For the Baltimore Ravens. What is the
perception that the Baltimore has with the biggest, stiffest guys they can
both of them are huge.
Them at guard. They're both like 6'9", like 300. It's like watching like Yokozuna tag up with Braun Strowman every time that they go out there.
It's crazy. These two, they're big, but they don't move well. Fahalele definitely doesn't. The thing with Fahalele is so huge that it just takes you a minute to go either around him or on top, however you're going to get to set player.
Yeah, and it's strange that they have that much size there, and then they run a lot of like wide zone, like not a lot of gap. Like, I don't get it, but it's their decision.
Malachi played good. A couple of good one-on-one reps with Darren Warren. That was good. Corners, DJ Tampa, guy that the Ravens drafted too. I like how he played. He played well. Amar Davis showed up, but he's in his 4th year, so if he doesn't show up this year, he's about to be gone. LaShawn Wester, another rookie, he had the return. People saw that, and I like him too, especially as a returner. I think he's explosive. Like that punt return, that first layer that he squeezed in between the between the two guys, right? And I thought he was gonna go down. Nope. And then blocking led the way. He's definitely has some burst.
If he didn't make the Ravens roster, he made somebody's roster.
Oh, for sure. Nah, he's gonna be the return.
I would assume so. Yeah.
Every single team in the league, especially like all these teams that run the wide zone West Coast, has a need for a small shifty guy who can do something with the ball in his hands, and he can certainly get something done from that standpoint. Yeah. He was one of the tape guy favorites of the offseason, so it's nice to see him get his due.
Yeah. But that was basically it. I mean, nothing crazy. As we were discussing before we went live, the quarterback play for the Ravens
we talked about Tyrod Taylor. He actually just had surgery apparently, so he's done for the preseason. It will be CJ Beathard and Nate Peterman for the Jets backing up Justin Fields.
How does Nate Peterman still have a job in this league?
He must be like he must be a great hang.
Oh my God!
What was the other name that you said? CJ Beathard.
CJ Beathard.
I don't even know who that dude is.
How? He used to play for the Jaguars.
Played for the 49ers as well.
Yeah, what? Yeah. That was after he was watched. He was there. He was
after he was watched.
Yeah, no. Like, there was like, CJ Beathard might be something, and like he played at Iowa. What I think, right? Was he an Iowa guy?
Oh, let me look.
Was he on the Iowa team? This is a deep pool. If I make it. I'm shooting heat checks for the rest of the day. Wasn't he on the Iowa team that lost to North Dakota State?
What year was that?
I was in college. was in college.
He is from Iowa, and it looks like he was there from 2012 to 2013 to 2016. So
he definitely lost to North Dakota State. Yeah. Okay. Whew.
Good pull,
man. Look at you, Q. Look at you, man.
It's kind of cheating. I went to Youngstown State, so I know the stuff that happens in the Missouri Valley. But yeah, that is an atrocious quarterback room. Look, I'm just going to say this here. For as much shit the Browns get for just throwing shit at the wall and trying to see what's happening at quarterback, we didn't pay Justin Fields a ton of money. I know some people feel differently about Justin Fields. I don't. And then put CJ Beathard and Nate Peterman behind him.
We talked about
famous for 5 interception and a half, was it?
Yeah, talked about the Ravens and Cooper Rush. The Jets aren't doing Justin Fields any favors either.
Yeah, and it's like Justin Fields, maybe you believe in him, like, okay, he's a flyer. But there's a certain tier of quarterback where you're just like, hey, I don't care what the backup is. It's Jim Sorgi, right? That's when you have Peyton Manning, right? Mm-hmm. This is not what you put behind a dude like Justin Fields,
to be fair, they have Tyrod Taylor. He just got hurt.
Yeah. And how old is Tyrod at this point, though?
Oh, he's got to be like 36.
Yeah, I'm about to say Tyrod was playing college football when I was in like middle school. There's no way that dude is like young anymore, right?
That's like Tyrod was in like NCAA 09. Like he's been around for a minute.
He's 36.
He's 36. He was on the Ravens like when they
drafted him.
Yeah, they drafted him.
Yeah, we drafted him.
Like way back in the day. He was one of the original projects that they just threw behind him. It's I think that's a bad situation. We haven't even touched on whatever the Saints are just throwing out there.
No, they're going for Manning. I think they want to go to the Manning.
I'm just telling you right now, I don't think much of Kenny Pickett, but dude, I would want Kenny Pickett over every option they have.
Yeah, he would start for the Saints.
How did Tyler Schott look? I didn't watch anything.
He threw a pick six.
Oh, okay. So he
threw a long touchdown to a guy who was in a different county than any Chargers defensive back. But
that's why it wasn't Tony Jefferson that threw that got the pick six.
What's Tony Jefferson?
If it was Tony Jefferson,
I gotta tell you, I was zoned out of that game. Yeah. I could not care less about.
Here's what I'll say about Will Levis is that people are forgetting that he is out there with people that he's still older than in the preseason. Like when he's 28, 26, right?
Will Levis is out for surgery. You're talking about Tyler Schott.
Oh, my bad. Tyler Schott. My bad. The young Tyler Schott.
Yeah, the rookie.
Age 27.
Yeah, 27. He's 27. Think about how good 27-year-olds look at the preseason, like routinely. Like Mitch Trubisky always goes out there, always makes some dumbass on Twitter go, he's ready for another shot. He's ready. Look at him go. He looks so clean. That's because he's old, experienced, and has played the preseason forever. Tyler Schott is like that age right now. And people keep selling me on this upside of a man who's older than Pat Mahomes was by the time he won his second MVP.
Well, Lamar's only 1 year more than him. Lamar's 28.
Lamar was like a 3-time All-Pro.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I think there were a lot of drunk takes around the draft about quarterback that just kind of got away. People got away with because class wasn't good. Tyler Schott at 40. And people just letting that one go by. Like that wasn't the craziest thing that happened in the draft.
Hey, Louis Riddick likes him.
Yeah, I will stand on it. Licenses need to be revoked because we were there at the Senior Bowl, the magical Senior Bowl he had.
Wasn't
Jared.
good.
Dude, where was this happening? Because it wasn't in Mobile. I will digress from my rant that I am clearly on the verge of going here about Tyler Schott, but man, that dude went 40th overall at an advanced stage. And like you could say, well, Brandon Whedon went the first and he was 28.
And he wasn't
Look at Brandon Whedon's college numbers, okay? Versus what Tyler.
Brandon
Whedon had 2 seasons of 4,000 yards passing, 5,000 yards passing almost in that second year. And then won the de facto national championship the year that everybody decided that it was going to be Alabama LSU, right? He beat Andrew Luck in Stanford that year. Tyler Schott had a pretty forgettable season at Louisville.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And that was enough.
what was it in the combine? Because I never heard about Tyler Shaw until the combine. I don't even know if he was in the combine, but I remember after the combine, all I hear is people going crazy for this quarterback. I'm like, who is this dude? I never heard about him in my life. And then they're saying, no, he's gonna go before Sanders, which he did, and how they should take him in the first round. I was like, what? Who is this dude? Like, I never heard about him in my life.
40th pick in the draft, Tyler Shuck. 40th.
All guaranteed too.
Look, you get the Brown shit for drafting Dylan Gabriel at 97, dog. We didn't draft Tyler Shuck at 40.
Well, let's talk about your boy, because Shedeur played well.
Yes.
All right, people are going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's preseason, and I'm going to take things with a grain of salt. But what you saw was fairly it was what you want to see from somebody in that position, right? And I stress this with people. That's good. What you want to see out of Shedeur is just he gets a challenge, he passes the challenge, right? That's just constantly doing that, upping the challenge level over time. And then eventually the opportunity is going to come, and hopefully he can live up to that opportunity because it's Cleveland. You guys watch enough Cleveland Browns football to know he's going to play at some point, right?
For sure.
Yeah, one quarterback's not going to make it throughout the season. Spoiler warning, y'all. But Shedeur looked pretty good. It was encouraging, had some nice throws in there. I think the two throws that stand out are the first touchdown throw. I think that second touchdown throw was good process. And then I thought the backside dig that he had in the back of his own end zone was pretty good as well. So, there's some good stuff there. Hopefully this could bear fruit, but you never know. You don't want to get too excited about the preseason. You don't want to change your whole season plans because of the preseason. I thought what else was more encouraging is what we've heard from joint practice about our other rookies, right? Carson Schlesinger, Mason Graham. Looks like they might have did a thing there with both those guys. Especially this week, you're hearing a lot of Mason Graham.
Joint practices with the Eagles.
Yeah, joint practice with the Eagles, tearing things up. That's awesome to hear, right? Like that's a good sign there.
They will end up being big winners of that trade with Jacksonville. That's my take from that.
Ooh. Hey, I hope so.
I agree.
There's a lot of ways both teams can win and lose that trade.
I don't know, man. If Travis Hunter isn't like God, I feel like Cleveland probably is going to.
And I think Cleveland was going to get Hunter because in the pre-draft I said
because truly what they're my bad, Sonny. I'll let you continue. But truly, here's the thing that I don't think people have caught on what the Jaguars are truly betting on, right? And I think you understand this. Is they're not really betting on Travis as much as they're betting on this finally unlocking whatever they feel like Trevor Lawrence is going to be, right? Like this is going to be the final piece that puts it all together for Trevor. And if that doesn't happen, even if he's good, right? But Trevor's never able to break through to that upper echelon of quarterback conversation, I do think that pick starts to look funny because it's like, hey, if he's like a solid corner and a good wide receiver, and you traded like quarterback level stuff to get him, we don't really think about it, but you ever look at what the Miami Dolphins gave up for Jalen Waddle?
What did they trade for Jalen Waddle?
I don't know.
They ended up giving the pick that ended up being Jalen Carter for the Eagles.
Oh, wow.
They gave up a future first, right? And I think that's the model that the Browns are trying to follow is like, hey, let's see what happens here with that extra pick. So, yeah, I mean, it was a bold move by them. And I think they made that bold move because they're at this fork in the road with Trevor Lawrence. And I think, whatever happens with Trevor is really going to dictate how they feel about that Travis Hunter trade. Because Travis could be a really good player, but if you got questions at quarterback and you're never able to get over the hump, you're going to be like, we traded an extra first for this? In a second? Right? Like that's going to sound crazy. You could have got a good player on offense and defense with both those picks. Yeah. So that's really the bet that they're making there and why it starts to make sense in my head why they did it because it's more about the quarterback than it is just about Travis. But yeah, if Mason Graham's really, really good and then let's say they get something out of one of these other picks, whether it be Quinshon Judkins or that next first round pick, and obviously the diamond here for the Browns, right? The ender of it all is if they get a quarterback with that second Jacksonville pick, then obviously they win the trade, right? Like that's a win for the Browns at least. I don't know if it's a loss for Jacksonville, but there's a lot of different ways it could break out. But Mason Graham looking really good in joint practice, I think, is a huge positive sign. Both those guys have been with the ones all camp and haven't looked out of place, which is rare for rookies, right? Like usually you could tell rookies going up against a wall. Carson Schwarzenegger's wearing the green dot right now.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, like that shows you what they think of him, right? The fact that the Browns have had 2 starting linebackers, one retire and the other one possibly retiring as well in JOK, right? Both go out for the year. And they haven't signed another linebacker. Tells you everything they feel about this room, everything they feel about Carson Schwarzenegger. And it continues to show. And look, even like the offense, had its moments against this Eagles defense in joint practice. Apparently, Joe Flacco had himself a nice day. I think the story of this Browns team is going to be they can beat anybody if they get decent quarterback play. But it's going to be like a loot crate box on what kind of quarterback play they're going to get week to week, right? Some weeks they're going to get good Joe Flacco. Maybe they get a good performance out of a rookie. How many of those performances can you cobble together and squeeze to get to where you want to get to win-loss record-wise? I think they'll be I feel comfortable predicting the Browns are going to be a pretty tough team to beat. I don't feel comfortable predicting the record because quarterback play is going to really determine how much of those games you could finish, right? And I think that's going to be the big question mark that hangs over this team. But defensively, that defensive line looks really solid. The offensive line has looked pretty solid throughout camp so far. The wide receivers, I think they're fine. I think people have made a big deal out of it. I'm not really that concerned. The DBs, though, for the Browns are where I'm concerned. If you want me to point to what in camp has happened that has concerned me deeply, our corners outside of Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, it's not great. Miles Harden is having moments here, but I don't think he's ready for a starting role in the NFL. Cam Mitchell, I think he might just be a good special teamer. I don't think he's an NFL starting corner. We got guys like Nick Needham on here who might be able to play, might not. It's not good when I'm watching the Browns in preseason. I'm thinking, man, Tony Brown looks like one of our best corners outside of like Greg and Denzel, obviously, right? So I'm concerned about corner, especially given that since the Browns pass rush is going to be so potent. I mean, Myles Garrett, apparently, he was just sacking Jalen Hurts every single rep out there to the point to where they just had to stop counting it.
Damn.
Yeah, it was something. He looks better than he's ever had when I saw him, and he's already Myles Garrett. So we'll see what he looks like this year. But yeah, when you have that kind of a threat, they're going to get rid of the ball quickly. And if you have a giant hole out there at corner, teams are going to exploit that to all hell. I really hope that gets shored up. But, I look at this Browns team. They're not going to be an easy dub, right, every week. I just don't know how many victories they're going to be able to scrounge up over a course of the year.
Okay, Jared, how about your Steelers? You have a couple holdouts, which I was
hold-ins.
Hold-ins, sorry, yeah, my bad. I was surprised because
Hayward
got paid, and I was like, "What is he?" And then the kicker, I'm blanking his name. He's
Chris
also
Boswell.
Boswell held in.
Yeah,
Boswell's holding in. That one makes sense. Like he's the third highest paid kicker in the division. Like pay him his money. You got the cap space. Give him a little bit more money.
No, I was surprised he didn't get a deal done because like kicker deals are pretty easy because they're not that expensive.
He'll get paid. They'll take care of him.
Super vital.
Yeah. Incredibly vital, yeah.
You live on the margins in Pittsburgh. Like that guy, he's basically the over 500 streak in my opinion.
The Boss deal will get done sooner than later. 99% of times, I am 100% on the side of players. You get your money, however much of it is you can. Cam Hayward a year ago signed an extension, and everybody's like, okay, well, it was a team-friendly deal. Well, if he didn't like the terms of the contract, then he shouldn't have signed it. And for him to be like, well, I told him when I signed it that, once I have an all-pro year, I'm going to come back. Okay, well, instead of just saying that, maybe you get that in writing so you can get a little bit of incentives if you had an all-pro year so we wouldn't be in this situation. And it's just very annoying from a fan perspective because it feels like Cam Hayward kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth where, during the Rodgers thing, he's like, oh, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't. but every year it seems like Cam Hayward's bitching and moaning about money and, constantly like wanting more money and talking about being unhappy and being undervalued. Meanwhile, this team has given him multiple big money deals and he's made over $130 million in his career. Like, I would love to be undervalued by somebody if that's the case. So like I said, 99% of the time I am on the side of the players with this. For Cam, he just got paid last year. He's 36. Like, there's no need to continue to come back to the table every year with a 36-year-old defensive tackle. I don't care how good he was last year. Sign the contract. If you didn't like it, you shouldn't have signed it. And if you wanted more money, you should have got it in writing if you had an all-pro year to get some more incentives. So, but they've constantly taken care of Cam Hayward. They've given him multiple big deals. They let his brother hang out on the team. Like, they take care of him. And every year it just seems like he finds something new to complain about. But on the other side of his mouth, he's talking about, oh, well, if you want to be a Steeler, you'll be a Steeler. I don't got to sell anything. Like, figure it out, dude. Like, you play on the deal that you signed, and let's stop talking about this. Boswell's a completely different case because he hasn't. I can't remember when he signed his. It's been a while since he got his deal, and he, like I said, the third highest paid kicker in the division. Give him his money, and make sure that he's
only Loop makes less than him. The Ravens rookie kicker?
I would assume so. I don't know what Dustin Hopkins is making right now.
Dustin Hopkins makes more than him?
What?
That's I can't remember who I heard say it.
I'll
bring it up. I'll bring up kickers.
I know McFadden makes money.
10-year deal in like 2017 or something like that. Like, there's no way.
Let me get some kicker contracts pulled up.
Because I know McFadden got paid. But while you do that, I'm gonna read some super chats here. Ray Rex says the Browns can effing help themselves, man. Stop making me have to defend this team when you keep making these decisions to want to add players with massive character issues. Shout out to you, man. And then Rex Fortune says, Jared, which option is better for the next year? Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson trading for Darnold, or Drew Aller after he pulls a Cardale Jones?
All right, well, let's break this down. Daniel Jones, I would rather staple my nutsack to a burning building than Daniel Jones be the starting quarterback for the Steelers.
How would that even work?
I don't know.
Want to know?
The building made out of plaster? Or
Daniel Jones is a six-pack of ass. He's not good.
It was not good against our second-tier, third-tier defense.
Not good. Now, Anthony Richardson isn't much better, but at least you can be like, okay, but he's like 6'5". He's a cyborg of a human being. If you would, want to talk, it'd be the Justin Fields argument almost.
You can fix him, right?
Right. Yeah, it would be a very much I can fix him. It's similar to what the Justin Fields thing was, except Anthony Richardson's bigger and stronger. And
he's only like 22.
Yeah, and he's still young. So Darnold, like, he's very much, if everything around me is perfect, I can have a good year. With the Steelers, I just don't know if that would work. I think that he has to have like an offensive guru, several great weapons, and a really good defense on the other side. The Steelers have a good defense on the other side. They had a good weapon, like a great weapon. I just don't think Darnold would work. You guys know how I feel about Drew Aller. I mean, you see the Penn State flag behind me, so that would be my big one.
And I have a question: like, if you are everything has to be perfect around me, and then I'm good quarterback, are you actually any good?
No, I think you're
nothing against Sam. Like nothing against Sam Darnold, but
I think that there's a place for that quarterback if they make the right money. Right.
That's fair. Yeah.
If they make the right money, that you can then put everything good around.
What's the right money though? Because like the right money for a dude like that to me is like $8 million.
20. I think 20 for a quarterback right now, it seems like a bargain, right? So if he makes
for a quarterback, but we're not like we're considering this guy as like the weakest link in this machine, basically, right?
Yeah.
20 million. I mean, that's a really good wide receiver. That's
a
solid starting interior offensive lineman.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the best running backs in football you could buy with that money. That's tight end in NFL money right there, right? Like you got to pay your quarterback $20 million and he's the weakest link. That is relying on you to hit on stuff at an unusual rate. Honestly, I'm like, if you got to pay that guy more than like 15 or like I would honestly want it to be like 10. Then like the guy's pretty useless because like then one variable falls apart, the guy's useless.
Yeah, By the way, I found the number. So Dustin Hopkins does make more money per year than Chris Boswell does. And Evan McPherson's at 4.6, Boswell's at 5. So they're roughly the same. So my apologies on that. I got that back.
Oh, so Hopkins is the highest of the division?
Hopkins is the highest in the division. Yes. Dustin Hopkins. He's making $5.3 million a year.
Okay, because kickers get paid nothing.
Yeah.
The highest paid kicker in terms of annual average value is Harrison Butker at 6.4.
Really?
Yeah.
So nobody's getting paid.
No.
It's essentially what you're telling me.
Jake Elliott's number 2 at 6. Cameron Dicker's 3rd at 5.5.
What did Boswell? He wants 8. What they fucking?
I mean, I would assume he probably just wants like 6.6, like just a little bit more than Butker.
Give him 7. It's nothing.
Yeah.
It is nothing.
It's not worth the holding.
Literally just give him an extra $1.5 million and he'll be the highest paid kicker in football.
2 rookie contracts, like UDFA contracts. Just give him the fucking money.
Yeah.
Like, what are you haggling him for?
Yeah.
Okay, Fine Up here says, anyone else think Graham will be the best league tackle this year? I mean, that is huge.
This year, like in the NFL?
Yeah,
or we just
in the
NFL. In his class?
No, he said this year. I'm assuming it sounds like in the NFL. I think that's too big for a rookie.
That's such a ridiculous pool that I'm just going to bring him down to this class for a more reasonable conversation. I think it's possible because like
this class, yeah.
The other guy was Walter Nolan, and he's more of an upside guy, right?
Well, no, the Steelers right and the Steelers guy Harmon,
Derek Harmon, yeah.
That's the other guy.
So Browns versus Steelers is going to decide this thing.
YA Black had a great first preseason game too, so don't sit on him.
Okay, Ray right here says so. Here,
apparently he's had a good camp though.
He has had a good camp.
Tweets. He's been knocking down stuff. You know, he's certainly having a better camp than he had Senior Bowl.
Very good rotational defensive lineman. I think that's what he'll end up being with them.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray Rack here says, so Q, you're telling me Andrew Berry is trying to emulate the Eagles like they do with a lot of other things, and we get told are bad moves, but when the Eagles do it, it's genius?
Well, here's the thing, right? Because like people talk about the Browns going after character issues. And I'm like, well, where does this really come from, right? Because Andrew Berry comes from Philly. And if you look at like the team that takes the most risk on character issues, it is by far and away always Andy Reid, right? Like whatever team he's on. That's always been the case. So, yeah, it's not surprising that the Browns follow that model. Again, when Andy Reid was in Philly, they took a chance on Michael Vick, right? Like you look at all the names that Andy Reid has decided. Deshaun Jackson, like multiple times, right? Like this
what is Deshaun Jackson do?
Remember, he got the NJ.com article where they linked him to like it was wrong. They were ended up being wrong, but they basically accused him of being an active gangbanger at one point. Yeah. So
no, I did not know that.
Yeah. So he got in trouble for that, but it's Andy Reid has always been like lenient on that. That's where the Berry's philosophy comes from. There's a lot of connective tissue there, and that they're gonna do this. They're gonna take chances on guys, right? Because they value more than anything instead of values, ironically. But yeah, and that's just if it works, then everybody says you're a genius and a humanitarian for giving people second chances.
Tyreek Hill
if it doesn't work, If Tyreek Hill was also Andy Reid, right? Like at the time. If it works out, you're a humanitarian.
Everybody forgot.
You're doing the right thing and all this stuff, and you're giving guys. It's nothing more American than the second chance, right? You always hear that one thrown out. And if you don't do it, then you're a enabler and the problem with the NFL. So, like, that's what you got to win games. That this is what you're going to do.
They brought in Frank Clark as well after he got into some trouble. So, yeah, it's definitely.
No, if you look at Andy Reid's history, this has always followed it, right? And you even if you look at the Chiefs now, I mean, like Frank Clark, right? He got into an issue, I think, as well. But it was, I think Frank Clark's the old owner. I'm confusing him with
no. That's Clark Hunt.
Yeah, Clark Hunt. But there was
Frank Clark was there for a little bit. He went to Denver after that. But yeah, no, he got into some trouble when he was with Seattle. And then
Terrell Suggs was over there too.
Right? Suggs was over there,
yeah. But yeah, so they will take chances here, right? Like that's what the Browns subscribe to.
Ray Rex just added Kareem Hunt. Yeah, Kareem Hunt
twice.
Yeah, right.
Ping pong back and forth between Cleveland and Kansas City. That is the philosophy they ascribe to, and like this is something the NFL has to reckon with. When the most successful franchise in the NFL is a team that does that, well, what are other teams going to do? You know, it's something for them to reckon with too, because it's not just like, I'm not saying it's all Andy Reid's fault, by the way. I'm saying this is just teams are going to maximize value. If you
from an outsider's perspective, like I really hope the Steelers don't end up being the team that trades for Tyreek Hill. But if I wasn't a Steelers fan, I was like, look at all of those dudes in that locker room. Imagine what it must be like in there.
What?
Just with Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill and Aaron Rodgers and oh my God, DK Metcalf.
And what was that year Gil pulled the gun out on the Wizards? It's like that level of like.
What was that, like 08, 09?
Yeah. Like 010 Wizards like level of just like, hey dog, anything could happen. Mm-hmm. Hey, the conversations you're gonna fall into just trying to play pool in that locker room.
09.
You know? There are so many of them you can have there. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey. That's a hell of a podcast.
Yeah, that is. Okay, so Rec Fortune here says Max Crosby giving Graham his approval is a great sign to me. California.
California Keekly.
Thank you.
Who's California Keekly? Is that Sweshinger?
That's what some people are trying to call Swess. Yeah.
And then the 188 says TD ranking, and we're gonna start this. So Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati fourth. And then here we go. Pitt says cut Connor and force Cameron to play. No sympathy. The 188 says, Jarrett, you're talking both sides of your neck. And this one, if Cam should play on his deal, then so should Boz. Both on their contract.
It's a very different situation there because Boz signed his extension back in like 2021 and has been very good. And I believe this is going to be the last year on the deal. So Cam Hayward still has 2 additional years on the deal and is just mad because he's mad because he signed a deal that was team friendly and now he wants more money. With Boz, again, an extra $1.5 million will make him the highest paid kicker in football. And with Cam, he's wanting market value, which would the Steelers have to cough up another about 15 million, maybe.
Yeah,
I got the perfect segue too, right? It's kind of like the difference between Trey Henderson's beef last year and Trey Henderson's beef this year. But speaking of Trey Henderson, Ace, what's been going on in Bengals camp and with Bengals preseason? Shamar Stewart back in camp. How's he looked? You know, have you been impressed with the young fella? I know you weren't the biggest fan of him when he got drafted.
And he sacked Joe Burrow in the practice too, right? Like he actually hit him.
He's not doing himself favors right now. No.
Yeah, he didn't do himself any favors with that. Shamar Stewart is. If I'm going to be wrong, I would be glad to be wrong about Shamar Stewart. By all means, right now, it seems like I'm wrong about Shamar Stewart. He has been explosive. I think even when you talk about the preseason game, some of the pressures that he was able to get, like, he is as advertised. The interesting thing is they're using him all around the place. So they're using him at edge. They're also using that 3-tech inside. He looked better than Murphy, which isn't saying much, but Shamar Stewart is as advertised. From the preseason standpoint, Bengals obviously putting out their starters for the most part out there. So they look sharp. Obviously, they were playing against backups with the Eagles. But the team that didn't look sharp was the defense.
Hey,
right, and that's been pretty much issue.
For your radio?
No, it's not.
We're getting some kind of feedback right now from you.
Sounds like you're in a helicopter.
Okay, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm going to be home. We'll be home in about 10 minutes, and I'll give my take. I'm almost.
All right, cool. Okay. We'll get back to you.
Let me have one more super chat, and if we want, we can start with the Tyler ranking while Ace gets back. Yeah. Talk about Mike Green being great already. Now, I will say this with Mike Green. Similar not as big of a scale as Shadur Sanders. My green right now, if he sniffs, he gets close to a quarterback. Doesn't matter against who the opponent. People are raving. I had not seen Ravens fans so crazy for a player, and I think it's because we haven't had a drafted outside linebacker with his upside. We need to chill. I think he's been playing good. He came in on the second tier when that second part. So the outside backers to start that game was Adisa Isaac and Ojabo. Once they got
Baltimore does love them some Penn State edge rushers, don't they?
Yeah, look at that. But once they got benched, that's when when he's in the field, I like him a lot. But I think people are look, if you say, Sonny, what do you think his stat line is going to be for the year? I think if he gets 3 sacks and he puts pressure on the quarterback on a decent amount of time, I think it's a great year for him. Mm-hmm. I think you are not none of you guys, but a lot of people in Baltimore they're talking about this guy like he's about to get 10 sacks already. I'm like, what? You need to show. Take it down. If he gets 3, it's fine. If he has Odafe his first year in the league, which Odafe then didn't got back
like 9, right?
No. He had 4.5, something like that. He got 10 last year. But if he gets
just see him be an impact guy, like he's constantly making plays.
If he's there,
finishing them all the time, right?
Exactly. He's a second round guy, and I think he's gonna be good. But also, there's growing pains with any rookie. So we need to show. That's my point. I think we in the Ravens Nation are a little bit too high. I'm excited for him too, but also we need to bring it down. Okay, that being said, we're here for tight end ranking. We'll go back to Ace when he gets to his house, but tight end ranking, the 4th. Look, I'll start. I had the Browns. I had the Browns.
Whoa, what?
What happened?
Oh no, I was reacting to you putting me at 4.
Oh, I had because although I love Njoku, I don't love anything else. I think Njoku's a good player.
You don't like Harold Fanning?
Harold Fanning's gonna be good.
You don't like Harold Fanning?
He might be good.
How many tight ends do you need to like?
Well,
there's only 3 in the room.
True. But I think if when I talked about the other teams, they are at least 2 with a third one that I like more. And in the case of the Browns, there's 2 things. Njoku.
Who on the Bengals do you like more than David Njoku?
I like Gesicki, not better than Njoku. Not better than Njoku. I like Fant, which they just signed. And
better than Fanning?
I mean, you can convince me otherwise. You can convince me otherwise. My other problem with Njoku is his availability, right? In the case of Njoku, I feel like now he has great games against the Ravens. Don't get me wrong. Njoku against the Ravens, he shows up every year. Every year, is one of those guys that, he has a decent game against the Ravens.
Man, it's almost like you guys are supposed to have like a linebacker or something that's supposed to be able to stop him. An elite linebacker.
We
guess he takes the night off.
No, the Ravens. Well, I'm trying to think what they do. I think they put mostly.
No, it's because you guys blitz a lot. That's what happens. You guys blitz a lot, and then you Njoku could be an answer to a blitz, and then you have him basically running downhill against DBs and.
Usually it's a DB on Njoku most of the time. Anyway, I think Njoku healthy can be an all-pro type of guy. I think he is really good. He's not consistent for my liking. And then the rest, in my opinion, there's more question marks than the team that I have 3rd. But anyway, since I put them on 4th, I'll then go with you, Q. Who you guys at 4?
Oh, I got the Bengals here at 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Mike Gesicki? I mean, it's not bad. This room used to legitimately just be bad for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not bad anymore. It's fine. It's perfectly serviceable. You got enough there to give Joe Burrow something to be dangerous with. But I don't think I think every other team in this division have tight ends that you factor into game plans. Like, hey, what are we going to do about this guy? How they use him? You know, especially when you get to Mark Andrews and David Njoku, two players that definitely stand out on the scouting report. You can include Pratt Firemouth into that conversation if you would like, right? But I don't think it's like crazy to think that he could be in that convo either. Mike Gesicki, you're not thinking about Mike Gesicki when you play the Bengals, and that's no disrespect, right? Everything Mike Gesicki gets on you is extra. But that being said, it's not a bad room, but it's clearly, I think, the number 4 room in this division.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sorry.
I would go with Cincinnati here as well. Like Gesicki's not bad. Noah Fant's fine. But I think that each of the 3 other teams has a more proven number 1. So I put Cincinnati here.
Yeah. So let me also add this here. The Browns too. Fanning is a rookie, and to be fair, I all my rookies, I treat them like you need to show me before, right? I did it with
some rookies are going to be great though, and I think he's certainly going to be one of those guys. Like he led college football in catches and yards. That's hard to do.
I know, but how many, especially
to that conversation though, like if we're talking about depth, Baltimore, like what are we counting Isaiah likely in this? Because like we don't know when he's coming back, right?
He's coming back between week 2 and 4. I think that's what they're saying. Because it was just a minor fracture, and before, I don't know, second week of camp.
You got Pat Firemouth over in Njoku?
It's me. More. No. He's asking me.
Oh,
it's more. Yeah. It's more after Njoku, right? I guess that is my problem here. More after Njoku, and then Njoku's a guy that does get hurt, right?
Like, how bad do you think it is behind Njoku that if you think that like the Browns have the better starter, that like.
Do the Browns still have Harrison Bryant?
Nah, he's on he's somewhere.
Because
I think he's on the Giants.
That sounds about right.
As I rank all these players, when you guys have a rookie second in the depth chart, I treat them like I don't know what they are yet, right? Especially look.
Well, I'm saying like tight end 2 is not the same as wide receiver 2, though. You know what I mean?
I got you.
You're almost like I feel like you're factoring in as if it's another starting position when it's.
Well, the reason why is because if Njoku and you can correct me if I'm wrong. If Njoku here will be playing 14 games constantly, right? And he doesn't miss as much as I remember missing. I didn't go back and check how much he played in the last.
He played 11 last year, but he played 16 the year before.
Okay. I mean, I think Njoku is better than Gesicki. If that's the question, I think he's better than Gesicki. I think he is. I love Pat Firemouth since the draft, or since he was coming out of the draft. But Njoku has done more. Let's say it like that. Njoku has done more too. You know what? You convince me. I can put the Bengals 4 because I understand your point. The second tight end doesn't get used as much. Again, my big thing here is, or my biggest question will be,
crispy cut. Hold on.
Hold on. Njoku did not have much more receiving yards last year. He had 500 yards as well.
In 11 games.
Tight end is going to be better
in 11 games.
Guys that have already done.
Ace, you're cutting down.
And Njoku you said what?
You're going in and out. You're fading out.
No, what I'm saying is Njoku is not that much better than Mike Gesicki. What are we talking about? Like look at the numbers from last year. And you're talking about Mike Gesicki, you're not game planning for him. He's the third option on that team, and Njoku is the second option. And Mike Gesicki has the same numbers, and we're talking about he's that much better than Mike Gesicki. And then we're also talking about Noah Fant, who was a first round pick who had multiple 500-yard games. Who's had multiple 500-yard seasons.
Yeah, but David Njoku had 500 yards in 11 games last year.
Okay, and Mike Gesicki a few years ago in Miami had 700. What are we talking about? What are we talking about where Mike Gesicki? You said what?
David Njoku last year had like 900.
That was 1 year. That's not been his majority of his career. What was it before
up one of Mike Gesicki production.
Mike Gesicki has been a more consistent tight end than David Njoku. What are we talking about?
I feel like Gesicki doesn't give you anything when it comes to run blocking, though. If we're talking about a full tight end.
But he's like a wide receiver at tight end. To say that you don't have to game plan for him is crazy.
No, I didn't say that.
When T. Higgins went down, he was wide receiver too.
Okay, like, obviously there's some level of game planning that you have to do, but
to me, what makes it not close is Noah Fant could be a tight end 1 on somebody else's team, and he's our tight end 2. How is Harold Fant Jr. better than him?
I think Harold Fant will be better than Noah Fant.
But currently, I agree with you, Ace. They're not. Right?
Yeah, they're not. We're not talking about somebody that wasn't a first round pick that didn't have a 500-yard season, which David Njoku just had. And he's our tight end too.
David Njoku just had a 500-yard season?
You said David Njoku?
Yeah, like he had 500 yards in 11 games.
What did he? Okay, so before his 900-yard game season, what did he have before that?
He had like 600 yards.
Exactly, which is good for a tight end. 500 or 600 yards is good for a starting tight end.
Okay.
There are two guys.
Does as a blocker
there are
as well.
2 guys on my roster that have done that multiple years.
But are those guys also able to rap block for you consistently in the run game?
Noah Fant is. Noah Fant is.
Is he? Because like multiple teams have decided.
Noah Fant is.
Multiple teams have decided he's not.
No. Bro, you're talking about somebody that played for the Seattle Seahawks.
Nobody's wanted to give this guy a long-term deal. Like, yeah, I'm like, if they thought he was like that, he wouldn't be on 2 teams. He wouldn't be on the Bengals.
Hold on. He was traded in the Russell Wilson deal. What does that have to do with somebody being in on him?
Why? Okay, he's on the Bengals now, though, right?
He's on the Bengals now because they wanted to save money.
Extend him?
Because they wanted to save money at the tight end position. They didn't want to pay him. They drafted the kids. They drafted. I mean, it's not that he's not good. He had suitors after he got cut. They wanted to save at the position. That's a financial decision. That has nothing to do with Noah Fant.
Okay. But
I'm just saying, like you have 2 established guys. If Mike Gesicki goes down, you have Noah Fant, who's already had 500 yards without Joe Burrow. And we've already seen what Joe Burrow does with tight ends. So to act like we haven't seen Hayden Hurst and CJ Uzomah go off and sign deals and be productive in the Bengals offense, like Noah Fant could be better with Joe Burrow.
I'll give you that. That's a lot of production with Joe Burrow, but that doesn't mean I think you're a better player. Like, what would David Njoku do with Joe Burrow? You would probably do more than all those players you were talking about, in my opinion.
But like he would also have
David Njoku, you could argue, got to 500 yards with the worst quarterback play in the NFL last year in 11 games.
And Mike Gesicki got to 500 yards with the best receiving core in the NFL.
With the best quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, and we have the best receiving core in the NFL.
Like,
we have the best receiving core
for the Browns. So
we have the best receiving core in the NFL, which means you're not going to get that many targets. So you guys do not have Jamar Chase. You don't have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, though.
You're not going to sell me that having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is a
detriment. How many targets do you think that they get? How many targets do you think that they get in the Bengals passing offense?
I don't know.
How many do you think? How many do you think Mike Gesicki is getting?
So the difference in targets was 14 targets. That was it. Gesicki got 14 targets less than David Njoku. That's just last year, by the way.
He got like 80 targets. You're talking about him like he's starved.
83.
He did starve.
In the NFL. He had 80 fucking targets, Ace.
He had 80 targets because T. Higgins didn't play at the beginning of the season, which I told you.
So you can't bring it up.
But you're saying I'm not going to game plan for Mike Gesicki. Well, apparently people were.
You was game planning for Mike Gesicki, dog.
You had to game plan for Mike Gesicki.
Bengals offense. No, be real with me. You talk about the Bengals offense all the time.
He was wide receiver 2.
You're telling me.
He was wide receiver 2.
Anybody everybody else who has watched the Bengals play, are you going in before?
He was wide receiver 2 when T. Higgins wasn't there.
What do we do if Mike?
He was a huge part of the game plan when T. Higgins wasn't there.
All right, hey, hold on.
He was a huge part of the game plan.
Let's stop Stephen A. and Mad Dog. If y'all want to make points, let's have at least somebody moderate this. Ace, go. Everybody else, shut the fuck up. Let Ace talk, and then we'll go to whoever has something to say.
Yeah, all I will say is he was a huge part of the game plan when T. Higgins wasn't there. Like they didn't have any production from Andre
I'm not
Yossi
saying
and from Jermaine Burton when he wasn't there. When teams were double teaming Jamar Chase, yes, he played a huge role on the offense.
not saying he's not a part of the game plan. Do you game plan on the other side of the ball for him?
On the other side of the obviously you're going to game plan for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So no.
That's all I was saying. That was my point. That they're not the focus of, he's not the focus of whatever the defense is trying to do that week. That is an objective fact. That's all I'm saying. They're not saying that Mike Gesicki's not a part of the offense, but he's not the focus of what they're trying to do. So it does make trying to get him open a lot easier.
I would say I have a hard time agreeing with that because Bengals fans know. Like before the Bengals had Mike Gesicki, we never ran a lot of heavy personnel, and Mike Gesicki allowed us to do that. Like we not only use Mike Gesicki, we use Eric All and stuff like that last year. So it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to say.
Drew Sample. Like, no doubt about it.
How many tight ends do the Bengals have? Because I got Drew Sample and
had
Tanner
a lot
Hudson.
of like Sonny already knows. Sonny already knows. The Bengals before last year are not a heavy package team. Like last year was the first year that they did that. So Mike Gesicki, what he allowed them to do, since he's kind of more so kind of like a wide receiver, he allowed the Bengals to play with 2 and 3 tight ends on the field at the same time. Like Drew Sample and Eric All played with him out there in the heavy packages, whereas before that, the Bengals were just a primary 3 receiver team. Like we weren't going out there in 12 or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's saying that Gesicki's a bad player. I think just in terms of this specific conversation, if we're ranking who, which ones we take.
I'm not, and what I'm saying, I'm not saying Mike Gesicki is the best tight end in there. I just think if you're talking about the tight end room, and you have 2 guys that have similar stats to a guy that's in one room, coupled with a rookie where you don't know what they're going to do, especially at the position of tight end, that is a highly volatile like draft stock. To me, I'm going with the 2 guys that are veterans that have already done it. That's all I'm saying.
Point taken. Very valid.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That for me is the main thing, right? Like I think if you think about it, the tight end, and I guess this is what I was saying before. If Njoku misses a game, I know Jared and Q, you guys are very high on the kid, the 3rd round pick for the Browns, right?
I'm just like, how much do you factor if somebody misses a game? What does this room look like? Like,
okay. So in the case of the Ravens,
what factor should that really play in where you rank a team? Like, it can be different for every one of us.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
that I agree.
But I question, like, if this is like one of your main reasons for ranking them lower, it's like, oh, if they lose this guy, what do they look like? It's like, yeah, well, I mean, if every team loses their starter, then they're probably not going to be a great situation. But you can't game plan for that. Well, you can't just like.
I look at the top 2 more than anything when it comes to tight end, just because like. If you're going to play heavy, I mean, most teams will go 12 personnel, so there's going to be 2 of them on the field, and those are going to be your predominant 2 guys. So, which I think each of the 4 teams have 2 guys that can be relied upon. Where Cincinnati's got Gesicki and Fant, Njoku and Fannin with Cleveland. The Steelers have apparently Arthur Smith can't get enough of them. So there's like 8 of them there.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah, y'all 3 deep over there. Y'all 3 deep.
They'll roster 4 of them. So, and obviously with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in Baltimore. So it's AFC North just seems to have a riches when it comes to tight end.
So who you have at 4th, Jared?
No, I got the Bengals at 4. At 3, I don't want to put the Steelers here, but I think Njoku's better than Pat Freiermuth. I think the Steelers' depth. Like Jonnu Smith coming in is big, and that's a proven guy who's just a Pro Bowler last year, had 90 catches. Darnell Washington, Steelers fans are crossing their fingers, hoping that he becomes a bigger part of the passing game. It'd be splitting hairs here, I guess. I guess for the sake of fandom, I'll put Cleveland 3 and Pittsburgh 2, but I'm not going to argue anybody saying that, hey, Njoku's better in the better tight end of any of those two teams, so they would be 2. So I'll put Cleveland 3, Pittsburgh 2, and then Baltimore at number 1 would be my personal ranking.
So Ace, who you had at 4th? Because I know you were defending your boys, but
I got Cleveland at 4 for the room purposes. I've got Cincy 3rd. Are we giving all of the rest of them?
Hold on, because we also have
we have
3 and 4. Yes, we have 3 or 4. 3 or 4 are fine.
Yeah, right now I do like Harold Fannin Jr. Don't get it twisted. Like, I don't think that the kid is going to be a bum or anything like that. I think that he has high upside. I think that he does have the potential to form a dynamic duo with Njoku over there. But because of the rooms, I've got the depth. The depth has a question mark in terms of where tight end 3 may be at. There's blocking tight end from that perspective. So some of these other rooms have more tight ends that I feel a little bit more confident about in the top 2. So I've got them at 3.
Cute. And do you say your 3?
My 3. Yeah, I'm pretty deadlocked between Pittsburgh and Cleveland here.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's hard because you got to decide. All right, does having 3 reliable guys outweigh having one really good one and
utilize them more too?
Yeah.
I'll give Pittsburgh it right now, so I go Cleveland 3.
Cleveland 3
here. Yeah, okay. I think Fannin has a lot of upside here. The question is how much of that is he going to be able to realize? I think a lot of that has to do with how well he can block. I think that is the one thing that does set Cleveland apart, though, from most other tight end rooms, is that they ask these tight ends to be very versatile, right? Like, you're going to have to get out there, run block. I think that's what sets David apart, is that he is a really, really good run blocker on top of being somebody who you could just treat like another wide receiver. At times last year, after the Amari Cooper trade, he was the number 1 option on offense, right? For a team that did not have any options on offense. So he got a lot of responsibility put his way. And while I was making the whole point about quarterback responsibility in that defensive game plan, because I was like, David was the number 1 responsibility for the most part last year in the game plan. So he got a lot of double coverage. He got a lot of stuff that he had to deal with that most other tight ends don't have to deal with. That's going to be similar this year, right? He's not really changing his stance of where he is, right? Jerry Jeudy's a little better. Maybe you get something from Cedric Tillman, but David Njoku is going to be top of mind of any game plan that anybody rolls out for the Cleveland Browns, which might affect his production this year, right? So we'll see what ends up happening with him, Harold Fannin. But I think David is one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And when you have one of the best tight ends in the NFL, I don't really care who tight end 3 or tight end 2 is, as long as you feel decent about those guys. You got that one guy, you're probably going to be fine at that room. But Pittsburgh has, I think, a really solid tight end in Pat Freiermuth. I'm higher on him than every other Pittsburgh fan I ever talked to about Pat Freiermuth. He's one of those guys Steelers fans really don't like.
I don't dislike Pat, especially with all the work he does in the community. He's an A+ human being. Always been nice in the few interactions I've had with him. It's just not a very good run blocker, which is something that Steelers fans have kind of been hoping he would get better at as time goes on, but he's a receiving tight end. So I think that's kind of the biggest qualm Steelers fans have with him. I don't have any thing personally against him whatsoever.
Yeah. And then I think it's huge adding who they added in the offseason too in that room. And especially since it's Arthur Smith,
Jonnu Smith targets are about to go through the roof. So if you're a fantasy person, maybe pick up Jonnu Smith in the 12th round.
Yeah, if your name's not Kyle Pitts, you're going to get the ball if you play tight end for Arthur Smith, right?
Wouldn't it be the funniest thing in the world if the Steelers end up trading for Kyle Pitts?
You know what? They might trade for Kyle Pitts just to bring up Jonnu Smith's targets, right? Just to replay it again. Let's not give him the ball and drive him crazy. So did he do something funny where it was hey, Kirk, I'll change my number if you promise to give me a certain amount of targets.
Yeah, and Kirk was that.
I'll wear 18.
You can have
keep the 8. I'm good.
Before we keep going for the next ranking, let's play some Bills here real quick. Are you ready for football? For some football? If you're not, Chubbies ready to help you with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, or riding high and low of the game from your couch, Chubbies has the official licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. With bold designs, feature your favorite team. Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team logo in widely comfortable polos, wave making swim trunks, and gym ready mesh shorts. Yeah, you heard that right. Swim trunks with your favorite NFL team logo on them. All the comfort, all the swagger you need to take every touchdown dance, chest up, and dramatic 4-quarter meltdown. By the way, we have down the link with chubbiesshorts.com/AFCNT. With that, you get $10 off. Chubbies is the ultimate football apparel brand, so much so they created their own fantasy football league. George Kittle, Ian Rappaport, and others have come together to assemble the Chubbies League on NFL Fantasy. Each week, the top 5 scorers will win a chance on at Chubbies Polo/short combo with their team's logo. The grand champion gets a chance at the Ultimate Fan Package, a 5-city, 5-stadium NFL game tour with +1. While the fantasy flop faces a hilarious and unforgettable punishment only Chubbies could pull off, head to chubbies.com/the Chubbies League to learn more and have some fun. Get ready for the most outrageous fantasy football season of your life. Remember, promo code AFCNT for $10 off at chubbiesshorts.com/AFCNT. $10 off at chubbies.com. Shout out to them. Thank you for sponsoring. Great shirt.
Look, I just pulled this out the washer. Look how dry it is already. So if you're a sweaty pig when you go out the golf, if you're a sweaty person, you're tired of people just talking about how drenched in sweat you are all the time, get the shirt. It'll dry off quick.
Or a little pat. If you're one of those Steelers fans in the 412 area code, wear it to church. That's not. People
put tie on this. Wear it to a funeral. You keep it classy.
Shout out to you, Ravens Nation. We need something to be like Ace when defending the Ravens, dude. You
gotta push back, bro. You gotta push back.
You haven't been here enough. There's a video out there where I take my shirt off and me and Tony back then.
I was about to say, yeah.
There's good moments.
This man to take his shirt off again. Yeah, like
I think everybody here has had their moments. I think the only ones here, obviously, Jared is still new here, but everybody here has had their moments.
I feel like I should have had
Jared
at least
got pretty
one.
heated.
Jared is too chill. Jared is too chill.
No. I feel like I've had at least one. I've had at least one.
Sonny said something crazy about Jared Allen. I mean, Josh Allen, and it was, I remember that set him off.
So, Jared, you haven't been here because I had a lot of takes about Josh Allen before this last year. I called him before.
Yeah, that must have been Tony's time.
A big arm. What do you call this guy? Tony Romo. Big arm Tony Romo.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I call him that before.
That's almost as bad as Collar's going to be better than Lamar Jackson. Don't know who said that.
That was me. I certainly did say that at one point.
The person below you right now said it too.
Oh, all right. Hell yeah.
You put Kyler Murray in a Greg Roman offense.
Yeah.
I definitely drank the Kyler Murray Kool-Aid after 2021, where they went to the postseason and he had a good year.
The splits on him with Modern Warfare coming out is crazy.
No, Jared, that's funny. I was out by 2021 because that was Cliff Kingsbury for me, and once Cliff touches you, I'm done. Yeah. Right, except for Jada Daniels, the only one to survive it so far. We'll see. But no, I said this in 2019.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit of a. Well, good for you.
You didn't even have a breakout season.
It's all right. I appreciate people who plant their flags. I plant my flag in a lot of things too. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. We get no one bats 1,000 in this business.
No.
Folks.
I said it off the heels of a Browns victory over the Ravens in Week 4 of 2019, and then Lamar went on to go undefeated and win the MVP.
Yeah, there you go.
I remember that.
Real quick, Ace.
Go ahead.
You didn't really get to hear it coming in. The Bengals have had training camp, preseason. A lot of talk about Shamar Stewart. I've been hearing my boy's been looking good. My boy's been looking good. Ace, tell me about it.
Yeah, Shamar Stewart has been looking really good. Athleticism, we already knew that was there. Between training camp and between the preseason game, he looked really good. I might be wrong about Shamar Stewart, which I'm happy to be wrong about Shamar Stewart. He flashed a lot in the game, looked better than Myles Murphy, who's in a situation where he's got to kind of prove something. But Shamar Stewart has been able to rush the passer, get to people. They played him at 3-tech. They played him out on the edge as well. They're moving him around. He's getting some work with the ones. And for him to be a guy that just, didn't play rookie minicamp, didn't really come into training camp until the end, he's been extremely impressive. I mean, honestly, I think someone had a take where it was like, man, this guy might be one of the best players on the team just from a practice standpoint right now. And it's just because of the physical ability that he has to kind of get to the quarterback. I think there was one point where I think Dan Hoare said he was able to get to Joe Burrow in 2 seconds. He's been exciting to watch. We'll see if that translates on Sundays and translates in real games, because obviously this is just preseason and training camp, and the Bengals don't have the best linemen. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think a positive thing from the game was Shamar Stewart, what he was able to do in the preseason. Obviously, the Bengals are playing their starters, so that was as expected. They're going against backups for Philadelphia in terms of the offense. So, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are in form, and this is something that they're doing that's different than last year where they're playing the starters. Now, the bad side about that is that the defense was out there and struggled against a backup Philadelphia offense.
The gnarly, honky Tanner McKee.
Tanner McKee was looking like Dan Marino out there, which was
252 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and this was now they were missing about 5 starters.
Did he do all of that against the starters, or was like some of it against starters, some of it against backups?
Some of it was against starters and backups. Okay. He played until like the 3rd, 4th quarter. So I think the Bengals defense, I want to say, played for the first quarter. DCR was all right. I mean, Tanner McKee was like the talk of the whole thing. But I mean, for a Bengals defense, with them learning a new system, with them having about 5 starters missing, it's not ideal. And you want to see how they bounce back, especially if they get to play Jaden Daniels this week. We want to see what they can do there. But a lot of bad things that I saw from that perspective, not really the defensive line, but really the secondary, right? Like when it comes to DJ Turner, you have no business getting torched by Johnny Wilson, who's one of the stiffest receivers in the NFL.
Oh, God.
Cam Taylor-Britt didn't play in the game. So there were guys that were missing, like Geno Stone wasn't playing. But you just can't be getting killed like that. Like the first play started off with Will Shipley busting like a 35-yard run. So there's questions on that defense, which we already knew that those were the questions. We'll see what adjustments that they make in this second game. And as the season goes, it's going to be a painful experience, but that's just unacceptable to let Tanner McKee look like Dan Marino out there. So that was something that I had an issue with. The backup quarterback play surprisingly was atrocious. Jake Browning did not look good whatsoever. He had like one of the worst preseason quarterback performances in NFL history in that game. Desmond Ridder actually looked better than him. So that's how bad
he threw a nice jump ball to somebody.
Desmond Ridder
back in Cincinnati?
Yeah, back in the Natty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
when it goes for that draft class, it went, dog. Like they're all in random. Is there any of those quarterbacks other than Brock Purdy that's not like in a random place right now?
Can't be. Matt Corral is like selling insurance. Sam Howell is in Minnesota. Who else is from that class? Pickett's obviously in Cleveland. Ritter's in Cincinnati. Malik Willis is in Green Bay. Everybody but Purdy somewhere else.
Yeah.
But he's in a battle now. Like now it's an actual battle between Jake Browning and Desmond Ridder for quarterback too. But the big talk out of camp has been Joe Burrow. Everybody's saying like this is the best camp Burrow has ever had. It's confusing because the offense is red hot and the defense has won some days. And I think the last time the defense won, I don't think the Bengals scored in 11s. So it's hard to say, but a lot of that was Shamar Stewart. A lot of that has been the defensive line. So we'll see how things evolve. But I mean, right now, I think the biggest thing that everyone is excited about is Shamar Stewart. So I'll say that.
I'm glad that they're playing their starters and like getting ahead of this thing where it's like, all right, we don't want to start off slow again. Like, let's get them out there in August and have them get their feet wet. So I wish the Steelers were doing that. Rodgers isn't playing again on Saturday. So I wish that Pittsburgh would take a play from that, and we'll see if he plays in the third one. But
how much
because they played a quarter.
Rodgers in the preseason.
I don't need to see a ton, but I would like to see. Like, I would have played him a drive or two in week 1. I would play him a drive or two this week, like just so you don't go in practices. They did joint practices with Tampa today, yeah. So that's at least something. Then I can hang my hat on there.
Is there any update with Hendrickson? I haven't heard anything.
Hendrickson's there. He's with the team, so
he's holding in.
He's holding in, but he traveled for the game. He's been at all of the practices holding in, but yeah, he's there now. So we'll have to see how that evolves. But it's not a situation where he's like, I don't want to show up or I'm not. And he's actually helping Shamar Stewart with stuff in practice as well. So we'll see how that goes. And Chef, you're right as well. Dylan Fairchild looked good. Another thing that didn't look good, Lucas Patrick. Lucas Patrick is ass. I'm sorry. Like he's not the answer at right guard. He's ass.
Lucas Patrick is just the name of a bad offensive lineman, too. Like you can't imagine that being like the great Lucas Patrick, right? And that's like a grade A jobber name. Like,
he's gonna be like a 9th grade history teacher one day. He'll like have his picture on the wall, and whatnot. Like the kids would come in and it'll be like, "You played football, Mr. Patrick?" He's like, "Yeah, for a little bit."
Would you play offensive line?
So going
37 PFF grade. Jesus Christ, Mr. Patrick.
No. By the way, Tevin Jenkins was awful in the Browns preseason game. Like unspeakably bad. Him and Deontay Johnson were both trash in that preseason game. That kind of got buried under all the Shador excitement. And I'm trying to figure out whether that's just they're veterans. They don't feel like they need to play in the preseason. But like immediately, both those guys got put on the cut block. Like,
hey, listen, man, Deontay Johnson's never met a pass he didn't want to drop.
It's not even that he's dropping passes. It's the route running that looks bad, which was shocking. Because I'm like, that's what you do.
Yeah,
that's supposed to be your thing. He got pressed outside so easily on a 9 that Shador threw, and it was like some schlup guarding him. And I'm like, what is this? What you just didn't try?
I think something mental there, man.
A future Montreal Alouette.
Yeah, there's some guy out there, right? Like, come on. Like, you can see Shador be like, he's got a one-on-one. It's Deontay Johnson. I'm throwing the ball to him, and Deontay's not even coming close to getting off clean. And I'm like, how? How is this happening, dog? Like, he went from looking really good in practice to just, I don't know what's going on there. And with Isaiah Bond signing with Cleveland, it's probably not a great sign for Deontay Johnson.
He gone. Okay, so Jerry, I know you did your 2-1. Ace, who's your 2?
Yeah, 2 for me is going to be the Baltimore Ravens, and the reason why is when you look at going off of last year, it was a down year for Mark Andrews. It seems like ever since he was in the neighborhood, he has been starting to move out of that neighborhood. But I mean, it's still solid for him. But I just thought when we saw Mark Andrews with 1,000 yards, that was just going to be the standard. I thought he was going to enter into that, George Kittle, Travis Kelce kind of area, and he just has not done that. And I mean, hate to say it, but obviously we remember how the Bengals,
the dribbler.
Yeah. I mean, we saw what happened at the end of the season. I think to me, it looked like Isaiah Likely had more juice last year. It kind of seems like Isaiah Likely is ascending. It seems like Mark Andrews might be on the way out. They're going to try to make it work, I think, for another year, but they're still a really good tandem. The only issue is I think that looking at what the Steelers has, and I guess obviously Steelers are my number 1, Jonnu Smith is coming off of a good year for him. His career season, 800 yards. I think he was top 5 in the league at the position. Is that going to translate with Arthur Smith? Obviously, Arthur Smith has worked with him before. I think that when Arthur Smith worked with Jonnu Smith, I remember him from back then. They were more so a running team. So with this being Aaron Rodgers, with there being Pat Freiermuth, who had 600 yards himself last season, you got the 800 yards from Jonnu. Then you just got a specimen. If you just need a good blocking tight end, he can do that. Like we don't ever question what Darnell can do in the run game, in the blocking game. It's just been what can he do on the offensive side. So if Darnell is your third guy, it's just kind of crazy. I don't know if they plan on doing any kind of 12 or what the offense
is Darnell the third
be.
guy in that tight end room, or is he kind of just like eligible tackle at this point?
I mean, look, man, in the game against the Jaguars, he ran down the seam and out jumped everybody because he's 6'9". Like, for God's sake, I hope they keep throwing him the football. He'll do most of the blocking stuff, but I'm very hopeful that
wasn't his Instagram, wasn't it like 5th or 6th offensive lineman? Wasn't that like the caption that he had?
Yeah, something like that. They're going to use him mostly as like the extension of the offensive line, but hopefully now that he's like showing this type of stuff in the passing game, like they utilize that, because it is a weapon when you have a guy who's 6'8", 6'9", damn near 300 pounds, who can go up and get a ball, athletic in space. Like,
he's still young. Like, the upside is crazy there. So I think,
he had a 68% success percentage when targeted last year.
That's what separates it for me. That's what separates number 1 and number 2 for me, because I know what you guys still have Polar. You guys still have Polar, right, Sonny?
Yeah, we do.
I think I'm putting my chips on Darnell over Kolar at this point.
Y'all still got Pat Ricard?
We do.
Did we count fullback?
Does he count?
Like we're not gonna rank fucking fullback. Like, we gotta throw him somewhere.
I assume we were gonna put him.
If that's the case, the Steelers moved down because Connor Hayward's on the roster.
That's where you guys snuck him in at fullback.
I just recently found out that Connor Hayward blocked me on Twitter, and I was like, that's fair. Fair enough.
Well, you did get at him earlier in the show. You were like,
I feel like every week at least once I just tweet like Connor Hayward's ass. So that's fair. Whatever.
Nothing wrong with that, brother.
No, that's better for your mental health to block me.
It's a decent. Fair enough.
No, like Roquan Smith ever blocked me, I'm like, I understand it. Like,
seems like a very nice guy. Seems like a very nice guy, but if his last name was Smith, he wouldn't be on the team. That's all I've ever said.
So my stance here.
Hayward.
Yeah.
Connor Hayward. Yeah.
So I'll start with this. I have 2 for the Steelers.
He's gonna get like 3 trick plays too. That's what drives me crazy about the Steelers. Like, they give him shit.
Cam steals the headset before Art can chase him down and take it back.
Yeah, and look, man, the fact that he's allowed to stick around, but Randy Moss's kid got the boot, I don't understand. Like, why can't Randy Moss's kid be there too?
He's the Bonnie of Pittsburgh.
I saw. that's hilarious.
Dang.
So
much FaceTime on Hard Knocks.
The Nassus, right? It's really the
Nassus.
Oh, good Lord. What were you saying, Sonny?
Now, I was saying that I had the Steelers 2. I think
Alex. But...
I think they have 2 really good tight ends. I like Pat Freiermuth. I also was here saying before that draft that Pat Freiermuth was the number 1 tight end, and not
what was the other tight
end? Not the Atlanta kid that we were just talking about.
Pitts?
Pitts.
Keanu Smith?
Yeah. Oh. No, Pitts. I said Pitts is not going to be the first tight end, because my whole point was that Pitts was not a tight end. He should not be playing tight end in the NFL. That's what I said pre-draft.
Dude, there's a universe where we were able to successfully talk the Bengals into taking Kyle Pitts instead of Jamar Chase, and we don't live in that timeline.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Thank you, Atlanta. Thank you so much.
Imagine they didn't get Panay or Jamar and they ended up with Kyle Pitts.
Oh, beautiful.
I hate the
but anyway, I think Jonnu Smith is good, and we'll see what he does now integrated with this offense between him and Freiermuth, right? Will he take the tight end 1 position over Freiermuth? I don't know. I like Freiermuth a lot. Jonnu Smith is more of a complete tight end.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in Arthur Smith's system, he's kind of like, it's a kind of a specialized position though, isn't it? Like, I know we were talking about it earlier, we're like, with the Browns, their second tight end's not really a starting position. But with Arthur Smith, that second tight end's basically like a slot.
Yeah, like especially with
like
John,
how the Randy Walker guy used back in the day.
Especially with Jonnu, because like they'll put him in the slot. He played a little bit out wide in Miami, so like he's shown the ability, like they can put him all over the place. And so they can. There is a world where, and they've practiced it. They went 0-4 personnel where they had Freiermuth, Washington, Jonnu, and Connor Hayward all on the field at the same time, because God's not real. And
why did they put Connor out there?
I don't know.
But if we think about what,
bro, it's got to be a rib in that room where it's like, how do we put Connor in here, dog?
What they did though in that formation though was they like ran a toss to Jonnu, and like there's a clip that went viral. I shouldn't say viral, but like people dug up a clip from like the 2019 Titans when they ran that play, and Jonnu got like 40 yards on it. So now Art just can't quit it. I like Art. I think he's like a net good offensive coordinator, but sometimes I do think that he overthinks some stuff. And I think 4 tight ends, when you've got Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren that you could put back there, that might be a little bit overthinking it.
It's written into the Cam Hayward hometown discount. Connor has to get snaps.
Connor will play in at least 20% of offensive snaps.
I know Jared's just wondering, like, hey, man, is Cam trying to get Connor more snaps?
If I change my last name to Hayward, can I get some snaps?
Connor Hayward's active for the game.
Part of the holding.
We'll give you this money. We just got to cut your brother.
Part of the holding.
I'm gonna change mine. I'm gonna change my last name to Hayward and see if I can get some snaps.
So Jonnu Smith, when he played with Arthur, he had 582 with 3 touchdowns.
Well, keep in mind, he was with Arthur 2017 to 2020 in Tennessee as well.
Yeah, Tennessee running team.
Yeah, so I'm not counting that. That was very low,
right? Did they have another tight end over there, or was it
Austin Hooper was there for a little bit?
Hooper was
there. It was like Hoop in the end of Delaney Walker, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it was like Delaney and then Jonnu, yeah.
But he's 2 years removed from being with Smith. He had a good season. But for me, look, in Jonnu last year, definitely like breakout season, right? And we'll see if he can replicate it. In the case of Mark Andrews, down year, right? He had only 673 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's what we're calling a bad. Because earlier here we were fighting because tight ends were getting 500 yards. Yes, in the case of Andrew, he came from the broken ankle. He definitely looked slower at the earlier part of the year, and as the year progressed, he started to look better.
Hawkins got to win a Coordinator of the Year award because he got like 11 in there for Mark, 6 for his other tight end, and like fucking 9 for Rashad Bateman. Like that's excellent coordinating, like passing touchdowns.
And that's the thing.
Not leaning on Derrick Henry in the red zone that much when he's Derrick Henry. I got my hat off.
And what I was going to say is both tight ends, both Likely and Mark Andrew can block, right? So they're both complete tight ends. Both of them are threat in the red zone. Both of them are chain movers. That's why I have them over the Steelers. I actually think the Steelers have great tight end core. I think my guys have proven in this system, both of them together, how they can both flourish playing together. That's why I have them where they're more complete tight ends. They can block, they can catch, threat in the red zone. Like I said, 11 touchdowns for Mark Andrews. It's a big number for a tight end.
39 first downs on 69 targets is fucking insane.
So yes, he in yardage had gone down. And again, definitely in the first quarter of the season, he looked slow. Mark Andrews looked very slow. As the year went back, he got that speed and that ankle felt better and better. He definitely looked good. Obviously, he had that drop pass at the end of the year for the Ravens, but no, I think he will be okay. I actually think he might have a better year in yardage, right? We'll see. 11 touchdowns is a lot. I don't know if he can replicate 11 touchdowns. That's a lot, and likely I think we'll get a couple more looks than him, because they obviously want to have Likely overtake him at some point because he's the younger guy, Mark Andrews. Essentially, they want to face him out slowly.
Are you sure they want to face out and put in a younger guy in Baltimore?
Yeah, tight end. Yeah, we always had a young tight end.
Mark Andrews ain't even like old in Baltimore years. He's what, 29?
Mark Andrews is 29. Yes, he's about to be 30.
Yeah, he's not even. That's when they gonna really use him.
Season.
No, but
he's just getting experience right now, dog. What you mean? Yeah, Isaiah Likely's not getting 1,000 yards until 2028.
I say likely. Well, put it like this. I think in the case of Andrew, he will get more yardage this year than he did last year. So again, I think the Steelers room is good. I like the top 2. I'm actually very curious to see how they use them. That's why I think they're trying to get away with not having better receiving core, because I think the tight ends are going to play a lot in the passing game. But the tight ends for the Ravens have done it more than 1 year together, right? The chemistry's there, so I have them there. And like I said, they're they're more complete. Although I love Farmouth, again, I loved them before the draft. He still has some work to do. I think the other two are more complete tight ends. Q, who's your 2 and 1?
Yeah, I have to put Pittsburgh here at 2 and then Baltimore here at 1. Obviously, I think highly of Pittsburgh's room. I think they're probably the best overall. Like if you're looking from top to bottom, if you're accounting for a lot of injury, that room's going to be able to survive, the apocalypse, right? Like hell, Bane can destroy Heinz Field and the Steelers will still have a good tight end to put out there, right? Like they'll be fine. But the Ravens, look, we talk about Mark Andrews, and no, he did not put himself on Travis Kelce's neighborhood. But maybe that was a pedestal that he never belonged on. It was unfair to judge him on because you look at his stuff, it's still top tier tight end stuff. I mean, 68.1 success percentage when thrown to 39 first downs on 69 targets is an insane conversion rate. That's just absurdly productive for you. That's a guy who's keeping you on the field on a consistent basis. And in 11 touchdowns, so extremely as effective as he's ever been in his career in the red zone. Yeah. The yardage numbers aren't what you want them to be, but the average numbers are still very high. He's still 12.2 yards per target. Lamar targets more guys now than Mark, right? Mark's targets went down to 69. Like 69 target. What Mike Gesicki we were talking about had like 80, right? Yep. That's just an insanely efficient season if we're truly looking at it, right? Especially considering that he was injured for a portion of the year. And then Isaiah Likely, who some people think is better than this guy, right? And who would be a number 1 tight end, impact player for a lot of teams if he were there. So when you got that pair there, both these guys can run block. You could put them on in 12 and run both ways with them. And these guys are pretty effective in pass protection as well. When you got 2 guys like that, Charlie Kohler, Pat Ricard, if we're including him, who's also a nice little wrinkle they could throw in. It's a pretty complete room, and the top of this room is just, I think, as good as any other top that you could have without having the best tight end in the NFL. Of course, there are some embarrassing moments from the last few years that. Oh, go ahead.
Baltimore Ravens best top confirmed.
The best top.
Best top.
Good God. I know. Think about it.
A euphemism for oral sex, Sonny.
All right.
Went over a lot of people's heads there. I thought it was funny, but I'll just go fuck myself.
We're going to have a hard time keeping our Chubbies sponsorship. But in all seriousness, Mark Andrews has had some moments the last couple of years that have been unfortunate, the having to chase down Sam Hubbard and what had to be a heartbreaking moment, I imagine, if I was a Baltimore Raven fan. And also the dribbler last year, just inexplicably, turned into the worst tight end in football. I can't explain it there with Mark. There are those moments that make you wonder if Mark Andrews is still the same guy. He's never going to get you 1,300 yards again. He's not going to eat up 153 targets in your offense either. But I mean, who else in the NFL could be more productive, more effective? Like like we're talking about super effective, useful production here. Who else can you only give 69 targets to and get 39 first downs and 11 touchdowns from in the NFL?
Yeah.
Also, it's not a long list of guys,
Yeah. And I wanted to add to this also that it's an advantage that this tight end group that has also over the Steelers is they have played with a quarterback already, right? The Steelers, Aaron Rodgers is trying to know these tight ends. So another thing.
He got 19th in comeback player of the year. Like, how did he even qualify for the award?
Who, Mark?
Yeah, he got votes for comeback player of the year.
Last year, he broke the ankle, and then he tried to come back for the playoff.
He was the hip drop guy, right?
Yeah, he was the hip drop.
Yeah.
And then
he gave him comeback player of the year after he had 500 yards and 6 touchdowns the year prior. Like, come on. What guy in Baltimore voted for him to win comeback player of the year? Anyways, but my bad, Sonny. Continue.
No. That was it. Ace, do you say who your number 1 was? I forgot.
Yeah, I already gave mine. I think Jared's got to get up out of here as well.
Yeah, it's late, and I got everybody got stuff to do. Yeah, we got stuff tomorrow. So, I already gave my 2-on-1. Yeah, I put Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 1.
Josh Allen 1,
and Josh Allen 1A.
So, by the way, guys, that we're gonna be finishing this here. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. We are.
How many more of these? I feel like we're almost.
We have
done
2
with
more.
these.
We have running back and we have O-line, and that will be it. Basically, that takes us to this full season. So make sure you like. We'll be back with the running back next week.
Off when we do running back. Jesus.
That's next week. That's next week. So we'll be doing running backs next week, and then finishing with the O-line.
Have we shared with everybody the days that we're doing, just so everybody's aware of it during the regular season? Have we locked that in yet? Because if so, then we can kind of share it. But
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Fridays.
Oh, my bad. We'll share it next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, guys, make sure you sub and subscribe. Check Chubbies. The link is down below. That helps us a lot. Make sure you like the button and share the content. Thank you, everybody. We'll see y'all next week. Peace out.